Fill up the clippers and see the Panimis. Every it has a neshama. Fill up the clippers and see the Panimis. Every it has a neshama. Peel off the clippings and see the panimis. Every it has a mission. For your Chenzo, how are you? Oh my gosh.
Bro, thank God it's beautiful where I am in life.
Is that oatmeal?
No, it's like Shrem, but it's like still really pretty.
Oh my gosh. Wait, Rebs, you doing well? It seems
I'm
like,
so proud, man.
yeah, it seems like peaceful where you are right now, like where you're sitting.
It's peaceful where I am right now. It's current moment, but it's also like,
Intense.
yeah, it's just like what it is. Like life's
Yeah,
good. Life's good.
seems really intense.
Good,
Rebs, we have two stories to share today before Shabbos, before Sukkot. Okay, one is like on the shorter end, and then one, if you want to stay, it's my favorite story of all time.
We'll see. Keep going. I'm very excited. I need it.
Okay, it's a little longer though, the second one, but the first one's geschmack. We're learning about Zos Chanukah. So Zusha, Reb Zusha, had the following story happen to him on the festival of Sukkot. Following his custom, on the festival of Sukkot, Reb Zusha would bring several simple folk and untutored men to his home to give them food and drink and to rejoice together with them. Some of the friends asked why he did this, and he replied, "In the future, when the tzaddikim will sit in the sukkah made of the skin of the Leviathan, right, which is a giant mythical sea creature. We actually learned that in Baba Batra together, the secrets of the Leviathan, the Leviathan. Yeah, is that how you pronounce it? Zusha will also go, and he will want to join them and enter the sukkah, but they will not let him, right? Because it's for the tzaddikim. They will say, "Should you, Zusha the simple one, merit to sit in the place where the tzaddikim sit?" Now Zusha can come and argue. He too brought simple folk and unlearned men into the sukkah. So Zusha in this world is bringing people, unlearned men into a sukkah. But we know that in the next world, the Seudah of the Leviathan will take place in the sukkah, and only tzaddikim could be there, not unlearned men. And Zusha will argue because they'll kick him out. Gevalt, I brought people into my sukkah, therefore you have to bring me in your sukkah. Unbelievable story. Unbelievable
Thank
story.
you.
Okay, Gevalt. So here's a story. I just have to say it has nothing to do with anything. It may have to do with everything. I don't know. But it's this. This story gave me chills. This story will always give me chills, and it's actually the second time I'm reading it and coming across it ever. I've been trying to find it forever. But you know, I think this is it. I think this is it. I'm not even sure if this is it. I didn't read it, but I just saw it. I'm like, gotta read it. In the days when Rav Elimelech and Rav Zusha were wandering in exile, their father would appear to them from heaven every Shabbat on Friday afternoon and direct them where to stay during the Holy Shabbos. Once they came to a certain city, and their father appeared to them on Erev Shabbos and told them that Elimelech should stay with the local rabbi, while Zusha should stay with the local shoemaker. Rabbi Elimelech went to the rabbi and asked to be housed for Shabbos, and Rabbi Zusha tried to find a shoemaker in the city. He searched and searched until he found his home in the hidden alley on the outskirts of the city. The shoemaker was not home. So Rabbi Zusha asked the shoemaker's wife where her husband was. She told him that during the week he traveled through the surrounding villages to fix the shoes of the farmers, and he had not returned yet. Rabbi Zusha told her that he wanted to share their meal on Shabbos. The shoemaker's wife replied, "We'd be happy to host his honor in our home, but we are very poor. Here it is, Friday afternoon, and we still don't have our Shabbos needs. No chalot, no meat, no wine for Kiddush, no candles to light. The Blessed One will surely bring us our Shabbos needs, but I do not know if we could bring a guest to share in our meager meal." So the shoemaker's not home. Rav Zusha shows up before Shabbos. The wife's home, and they have nothing for Shabbos. Can you imagine? Rav Zusha was certain that his father did not order him to stay in the shoemaker's home in vain. He said to her, "I do not need an elaborate meal. It'll be enough for me to just eat a kazayit, an amount of food that is the size of an olive, to fulfill my obligation to partake on the meal of the Holy Shabbat." The wife answered him, "Since you persist in asking to be our guest for Shabbos, we shall accommodate you if my husband agrees when he returns from the village." The shoemaker returned from the village. Chavra, now we have to open up our hearts. This is the deepest story ever. This is the deepest story, Merchenzo. It's Erev Chag. V'samachta b'chagecha. The shoemaker returned from the village and greeted the guest. And when he heard his request, at first he refused, but afterwards he acceded on condition that Reb Zusha go with him to pray with the workmen, who begin their prayers at sunrise and finish quickly so they can rest after the meal from their tiring weekday labor. Reb Zusha agreed happily to go with the shoemaker to his minyan and to watch his conduct during the prayers, because Reb Zusha's father, remember, he sent them to the shoemaker's home. Reb Zusha knows this is not stam, so therefore he wants to observe what's going on. So he's studying the shoemaker's tefillah with the workmen. Reb Zusha watched carefully and did not find any special thing in the shoemaker's service. He was simple, a coarse man in tarred boots, and his speech and prayers were as rushed as his meals. He was a vain and light fellow in all of his ways. Wasn't deep. Reb Zusha was disheartened that he did not merit to see or hear anything special in the shoemaker's prayers. Did his father send him to sanctify the Shabbos at his house in vain? The Shabbos evening meal and the Zmiros passed quickly. Even the morning prayers were totally uninspiring, and in the afternoon there was not an inkling of the holiness of Shabbos. After the afternoon meal, Reb Zusha returned to his inn with no intention of returning to the house of the shoemaker. However, when it came time for Seudah Shlishi, the third meal of Shabbat, he felt a strong yearning to see the shoemaker once again. He went to his house, but did not find either him or his wife. He was surprised that the shoemaker was not holding a Seudah Shlishi. Perhaps he had gone to the minyan of the workers for Seudah Shlishi. He went there and did not find him. As he stood outside, he heard in the distance a faint echo of a niggin. Kavra, open up your hearts even deeper. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He strained his ears to hear where the niggin was coming from and understood that it was coming from above. He jumped onto the roof and saw that between the roof and the ceiling, there was a large attic with a small skylight. He opened the narrow skylight and squeezed himself into the attic, where he saw some dignified-looking Jews, whose faces shone like angels, sitting in a circle with the shoemaker in the center, reciting novel interpretations of the Torah. The stately men looked in surprise at the uninvited guest, as if to say, "Who is this fellow here?" The shoemaker whispered to them, "Since he's already here, let him stay. He's my guest for Shabbat." Reb Zusha sat among the group, quite happy to have the opportunity to learn the Torah's secrets. When Reb Zusha left the group, the shoemaker said to him, "Be careful. Do not tell anyone what you saw and heard." All through the night of Motzi Shabbos, Reb Zusha tossed and turned, disturbed by the power of his longing for the holy congregation. Elimelech heard him and asked, what was he so troubled about? Zusha did not answer him, so Elimelech asked again. But Zusha did not utter a sound. All night long, Elimelech repeated his questions, but Zusha was silent. Even days later, Elimelech was amazed at Zusha's greatly changed behavior. Zusha rose to greater heights in the matters of holiness and enthusiasm and clinging to God. A new light shone on his face, and his voice overflowed with yearning. His prayer and study were burning with fiery passion. All of his movements were testimony that he had a revelation and climbed higher in spirituality. Elimelech began to press Zusha to let him on the wonderful secret that he caused the change in him. Finally, he asked him, "My brother Zusha, do you not remember our agreement before we set out in exile? That we would be totally devoted to one another? So where is your devotion to me? I can see that since Shabbat in the home of the shoemaker, you have a secret that you are not sharing with me." Out of compassion for his brother, Zusha broke down and told him what he had seen and heard in the attic. That same day, they came to a certain village and asked for a place to sleep at the inn. The innkeeper saw that they looked like beggars, so he brought them into the tavern and assigned them a spot on the floor to sleep. That night, a rainstorm broke out, and a high-ranking official came to the inn to stay overnight. The innkeeper brought him to the house by the way of the tavern. When the official saw the two men lying on the floor, he took pity on them and ordered them to give him a bed in the inn. The next day, when the official awakened, he announced angrily that during the night a gold watch had stolen from him. Immediately, suspicion fell on the two beggars, who by then had already left the inn. The official sent two people from the town to chase after them, and they caught them at the entrance of the city. The official asked them angrily, "Why did you steal my watch, you evil pair? It is proper to repay for evil for good." When they denied the deed, the official gave orders for them to be tied with ropes to his carriage and beaten with a whip. Afterward, they were brought to a concealed house in the forest and handed over to a judge to try to be theft. Cover it's ending right now. The judge said to them, "You should know that the official was the very same shoemaker with whom you, Zusha, stayed on Shabbat. When you climbed up to the roof to the Seudah Shishi in the attic and heard the Torah secrets, you were asked to not tell of anything what you saw and heard. Since you did not keep your word, heaven sentenced you to death. But to save you from death, the official ordered you to have you humiliated so as to lighten your sentence and permit you to live. Remember, Zusha, if you see miracles again, do not tell them to anyone. The blessed Holy One stayed angrily with anyone who does not keep a secret." So, Chevra, to be honest with you, to be honest with you, I think I saw this story in one of Rav Shlomo's storybooks. But Rav Zusha sat in the scene in Seudah Shishit. He was climbing on a tree, okay, because he heard this niggin. He heard this niggin in up in the skies, and when he was climbing the tree, all the chevra in the attic saw him. They saw this guy literally hanging off a branch, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" And Zusha's looking in. Their mamish, their faces are glowing, and the guest, the one, meaning the shoemaker, the one who is sitting at the head of the table, said, "That's my guest." And when Reb Zusha came into the attic, he realized that it was all the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. And the head of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim was the shoemaker. And the shoemaker told him not to share any of the secrets. So, Chaver, why is this an important story? I do not know. Mamish. But as we're entering into Sukkot, the same thing with Chanukah, with Zos Chanukah. Yesterday and the day before, we've been learning about opening up our eyes, dreaming again, envisioning again, being creative again. Mina Meitzer Karatika Nani B'Merchavka. Ari Baruch is looking up at the sky right now. Reb Nachman, I heard it in the Torah this week. Reb Nachman says, okay, you could look in the marketplaces and you could see the horses. The horses, the chevra, people going to Rachala, to all these places that are mamish in this world. But he says in 50 years, these things won't exist. The horses won't exist. The Rachala won't exist. Maybe it will exist. But he says, what's the only thing that will exist forever? The sky. The Holy One, blessed be He. So, Chavra, we have to look up at the sky a little bit, believe in above nature, and maybe, just maybe, we'll come in contact with the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. This Chag, Ari, you're in Shechem, you're mamish in the heart of Shechem. Who knows? Maybe one of the Chavra you're doing Shmirah with. That Chavra who seems so unholy, just wearing the boots, the tarred boots, saying the 1 second prayer, rushing his way through Seudah Shishi, through all the meals of Shabbos. You come to realize that he's mamish one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. B'ezrat Hashem Chavra. Fired up Hashem Kol Yisrael. You have a beautiful, beautiful Shabbos, a beautiful Chag. Ari, your chance will be in touch. Fired up Hashem Kol Yisrael. I love you so much. Keep on smiling. Be well, be well.
Jack, don't forget to look up through the schach.
Oh, the schach. We just have to look up at the schach, mamish. Be well, Chavra. Be well, be well.
You too.
Bye.